You should always have the desire to make money, but not at the cost of the peace, the purpose, and the freedom. If you're able to sort of create that right balance, that's according to me success. Our mind gets diverted to a lot of other things which are not necessary. So, and because of that, we sort of lose focus. So I think it's very important to define a purpose in life and be focused to that. But there's no replacement for hard work. Is absolutely essential if you want to reach your goals, achieve that you desire to achieve. You need to work hard.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I just have a favor to ask before we begin. If you've been enjoying these conversations and want more stories that redefine success, please do us a massive favor and hit the subscribe button over on our YouTube channel. It literally takes 2 seconds to do and is completely free. It's a small gesture, but it makes a massive difference for us as it really helps us to grow the show. And with that, let's get into the episode. All right, welcome back to the Quest for Success podcast, and thanks for tuning in once again. Today on the show, really looking forward to this one because we're joined by Suresh Mutha, who is an entrepreneur, an investor, a mentor, and really excited to dive into his story and understand more about him.
And I had the privilege of meeting Suresh at the Harvard Business School and at the last session, right? So we get to know each other a bit and got to catch up with him at the reunion last year. So I knew his story a little bit, but this is a great opportunity for us to get to know him and also to share with everyone else. Thank you, Suresh, for joining.
Thank you, Jam. It's such an honor and privilege to be on your podcast. And knowing you, it just seemed like we just connected, though we just met in the last unit. But I think the connect really was
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, feel like we knew each other for a long time.
True.
Yeah.
So Suresh, this podcast is all about success. And so we need to understand a very fundamental question. And that is, what does success actually mean to you?
I think it's a very complex and a difficult question to answer in simple words. And I would rather say I would define what is not success according to me. And I think what is success is automatically going to evolve. To me, having tons of money, the best palatial house, all the best brands, the cars, having all of that and not being able to sleep in the night, struggling to sleep in the night, being stressed is not success. Being a celebrity, very famous, people seek to meet you, to take your autograph. They flock around wherever you go, and you struggle to find time for yourself and for your family. You're not able to spend enough time with your loved ones. You're not able to spend time with your daughter and son and wife and the aging parents. That's not success to me. You might be one of the best professionals, very well known, very smart brain, but if you you're always stressed, and you don't have the freedom to take time off, do things that you like, chase your hobbies, chase your passions, that's not success to me. So I think success to me is reaching that stage of your life where you are at peace, you have a purpose in life, and you have the freedom to sort of be able to do whatever that sort of makes you happy. The fulfillment of whatever that you're doing, if it is not there, no matter whatever you are, that's not success to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope I was able to answer that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And Suresh, you mentioned there a very key word, which is purpose. I'd love to know right now, what is your purpose?
So at this stage of my life, my purpose is to create impact in as many people's life as possible. The social impact. I mean, whatever I'm, the last 40 years of my life's learnings and, whatever that I've learned in life, and I attribute those as reasons for my success. And to have reached this stage, I would like to propagate that to as many people as possible, and especially the younger folks,
Mhm.
the next gen. That's the purpose, that I'm like really working on right now.
And Suresh, for us to understand, the man that we're speaking to right now, we always like to go back and understand more about, your early upbringing. Could you take us
Mhm.
through that early childhood, and especially how you think your parents shaped who you've become?
So, Dylan, I mean, I was really very fortunate, or in fact, blessed to have born in a huge family, in a large family. It was my father were six brothers,
Wow.
and we belonged to a small village in up north of India. It's in Rajasthan, and my father were six brothers, as I said, and there were like 100 people in the whole family, and we were a big joint family. We have had businesses in Chennai, in Bangalore, in Mumbai, in Delhi, and the kind of upbringing that we had was we were never sent to live with our parents. uh, my mom and all the ladies at home were growing up in my native, and when we grew up we were sent to different places, and they made
Mhm.
sure that we were sent to a place where my parents didn't live. So I
Okay.
I was sent to Bangalore, where my I lived all my life with my uncle. So
Wow.
it was pretty much my uncle was my my father, and my aunt was my mother, because they raised me. So that was a kind of upbringing, that we were. I mean, not only me, every member of my family, they went through this. So the mutual respect, the love. I mean, I've seen the mutual respect and love that my father had with his brothers and his other siblings. He never took decisions arbitrarily, and nobody else did. And we have been raised seeing that kind of a harmony.
Mm.
So that's pretty much as sort of I would say ingrained in all of us as we have grown.
What was the philosophy behind that? Like, you're going and living with somebody outside your immediate family.
Yeah, because the family, this entire thing, the whole big family. I mean, it was family.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, my there was no time in my life where I felt that I missed my parents, because I
Mm,
had six fathers and six mothers. All my
yeah.
uncles, and including my dad, and likewise to all my cousins.
Yeah.
So you just imagine. I mean, it was an extended family where everybody had that sense of belonging to that family.
Okay.
So the purpose was to be well. Back in the day in India, in all the cultures that we have lived, the joint family system was very, very prevalent, right? And
Hmm.
so was ours. And efforts were made, and that's what joint families are. I mean, you want to sustain joint family business as many generations as possible. You want to carry on the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was ingrained as like a culture,
Mm-hmm.
not only in our family, but I mean, most of
Mm,
the people that I know around me.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And I know the family business, is a very diverse business, but who actually started that business?
Yeah, so it was my dad who actually moved out of my native Rajasthan, back about 75 years back, because the place that we belong is Rajasthan, is like a desert. There was no source of business. There was nothing there. So most of the people in Rajasthan had actually migrated to all parts of the country, different cities, and they went settled there in search of livelihood. And my dad migrated to Chennai in 1942. You know, and when he, against all the odds, back then, the transportation, the connectivity wasn't easy. They had to spend
Mm.
days and days together, to reach places. And I remember my dad telling me it took him about 10 days to reach from my native to Chennai,
Wow.
almost taking different modes of transportation and different sectors. And so, against all the odds, like there was a language barrier, there was a culture barrier, There was, transportation difficulties. So you just like imagine a person who moved out and created a life for himself against all the odds that you can actually think of in life. So he clearly was the one who had actually started. He initially came here and started working for a few companies for a few years, and then he started on his own. And one by one, he kept bringing his younger brothers and settling them. Uh, then he then he went to Bangalore after settling, this business here. He went to Bangalore and set up a manufacturing unit, stainless steel utensils. And then, by then my other uncle was ready to take on. So he then made him to look after that business. And then he moved to Delhi. He set up another business there. So like this, then he also did a business in Mumbai. And all his brothers then, one by one, were brought here, and they were made to
Wow.
sort of take care of each of the verticals. Yeah.
Yeah. So your dad's pretty much went outside his comfort zone and sort of gone and create a lot of things, not just for him, for the rest of the family as well. And
Absolutely, there's
yeah,
no doubts about it. Yeah,
yeah.
whatever we
So,
are, it's because of him. Yeah.
yeah. So which state you were born, Suresh? In
Yeah, I was
Chennai
born in
or?
Rajasthan. I was born in Rajasthan.
Oh, right.
As I said, like all the ladies were living still in Rajasthan.
Oh, right.
Back then, this was the culture.
Yeah.
They were not coming to the places where their husbands worked, because they wanted to give them uh, the liberty of first going and settling down there, and then maybe come over.
Yeah. And then I want to know, being surrounded by that, obviously entrepreneurial mindset, did you ever think, at a young age, I'm also going to go and start my own thing? Or like, what was your mindset growing up around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So ours is, we are Jain's religion, and entrepreneurship runs in our blood. From a very young age, each one of, I mean, it's been like generations after generations, we've been entrepreneurs. I mean, even in Rajasthan, when they were doing entrepreneurship in terms of selling the farm products, buy and sell to, the mandis and things like that. And when they came here, and I just explained to you how my dad, established these businesses in various cities. Yeah, so when you're growing up in such an atmosphere, right? From a very young age, this sort of automatically gets inculcated in you, and you know for a fact that this is what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
do you had any siblings, Suresh?
Yeah. So I have three sisters and two brothers apart from me. So we are six siblings in all.
Did you live with them, or they were in a different
Yeah,
part of
both my
India?
brothers were here in Chennai.
Okay.
I was in Bangalore. My youngest sister, who is older to me, was with me for a while, but then she then went back to Rajasthan. Back in the day, it in the culture, uh, the the girls were not let to be educated. I mean, unfortunately, so that was an ill of the society, but that was a reality. So I lived with my cousins. I mean, there were
Okay.
three other cousin brothers who I consider to be my own brothers even today.
Yeah, yeah,
That's kind of emotional bond that we have.
yeah, yeah.
And Suresh, once you finished school, what were you planning to do? What was your kind of path from there?
So since we were already into manufacturing, I naturally wanted to do engineering, and sort of add value to the manufacturing process. So after I completed my schooling, I then automatically took up engineering. So I completed engineering, which was pretty useful, and later on in my life when though today whatever that I learned back then is now more relevant because things have changed so much. But yeah, at that time it was indeed useful.
Yeah. So then after that, you sort of joined the family business after studying your engineering degree?
Yeah. So after I completed my engineering, that was a time when my father's six brothers they had a business separation in
Uh-huh.
1992, right? And it was just around when I completed my engineering. And my dad got the Chennai side. It was a very amicable kind of a separation because the family was growing too large for them to really manage, and everybody having different aspirations, different energy levels, different risk-taking appetites. So the brothers sat together and said, well, it's really time for us to, have a very amicable and a peaceful separation. And we nobody in the family knew that brothers are separated. It was so peaceful. There were no consultants back then, and they just did it all by themselves. So my dad then got the Chennai side of the business, which was more into exports and imports. You know,
Uh-huh.
so naturally, when I completed my engineering and I worked there in the manufacturing setup for about 2 years, but eventually I came to join my family business to Chennai.
Mm.
And were there any hesitations joining the family business? Like, the family dynamic, working with your father?
My hesitation was to come to migrate from Bangalore, where I lived all my life, to Chennai. Bangalore was such a vibrant city, such a quiet and peaceful and green, and the garden city of India, the pensioners paradise, the all those tags which were attached to the city. To migrate to Chennai, but eventually, my mother sort of prevailed upon me, and she said, "You have to, you can't be there alone. You have to join the family business." So, yeah, initially it was a bit difficult, but yeah, later on, I enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah, and once you joined, I imagine you're working with your father, who is clearly an incredible entrepreneur. You would have
Yeah.
learned so much in that process. What were the kind of key lessons that you learned from him throughout that journey?
So my dad, when I joined business, my dad was almost retiring time.
Mm-hmm.
My brothers had already taken over the business. My eldest brother, yeah, he started very early in his life, and then my second brother joined him, and they were already growing the very small export business that we had started. My dad actually, it's very interesting to know that my dad was, back in the day, the trade was very restricted. It was channelized. It was restricted. You could not import anything. You would need to have license, to import anything in this world. And there wasn't very big manufacturing here in India. We had to import. So and we could import only against licenses issued by the government of India. And those licenses were actually tradable. So my dad started off, buying and selling of licenses. And my brother, my eldest brother, when he joined, he forward integrated. I mean, he took that for one step further of importing against those licenses instead of just buying and selling licenses, right? And he did this for very successfully for many years till my second brother joined. And my second brother then started exporting out of India. Whatever the produce. I mean, and of course, I remember it was textiles back then. So it was already, to a stage brought up when I joined in '92. When I joined, the contribution of me in the business was to bringing a structure. Because I saw clearly that business was growing, and it was still being done in a very traditional, old-fashioned way. You know. There were no professionals, there was no departments, and I could clearly see, that was, the barrier of in the process of growth. So I will I'll tell you more about it, but yeah, my contribution was to bring structure and strategy
Yeah, yeah.
into our business. Yeah.
So, Suresh, do you think having done that engineering education degree help you to create that, like, shape that structure for your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, we were natural entrepreneurs
Yeah.
by birth, but engineering sort of brought out that professionalism in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood very early in my life that we need to migrate from a people-driven organization to a process-driven organization.
Mm-hmm.
My both my brothers were pretty much self-made. They were the
Yeah.
purchase department, they were the sales department, they were the accounts department, they were the HR and admin department, they were the logistics people, and they were the people doing all the tax planning, auditing, filing of returns for the income tax, pretty much everything. So for them to understand what departmentalization means in business was very difficult. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the way things then grew slowly, they started accepting this, and we
Mm-hmm.
were able to bring
Did,
a structure.
did you get any pushback from them saying, no, no, this is
Mm.
what we've been doing?
Absolutely. Initially, it was very difficult. Yeah, and quite understandably so. I mean, for people who have been sort of self-made, who worked very
Yeah.
hard, toiled day and night, to bring business to the level that it was brought. It was naturally difficult for them to understand. But what I mean, this is what we've been doing for years, and we've been
Mm.
successful. So
Yep.
what on earth are you trying to do? But I mean, it was difficult for me to even make them understand the word professionalism in business.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I was able to sort of bring external professional help. I mean, a consultant,
Yeah.
a family business consultant, which I bumped into at a talk show.
Uh-huh.
Because by then our family also was growing. We were only three brothers initially, but there were two nephews who were joining, and we there was no clarity at a family level as to who's
Mm.
doing what is a
Mm.
there was
Mm.
no ownership, no accountability, no clarity of roles. So I thought it was important for us to and not waste our time, efforts, and energy. And
Mm.
when I heard this consultant, a family business consultant, that it is very important to bring structure at family level, no matter what your business is doing. Your business might be
Mm.
successful, but if you're
Yeah.
not able to bring a structure at a family level, then there are bound to be frictions as you go along. So I brought
Mm.
him into our business, and he just did a simple assessment for it was just a day's kind of an engagement with him, where he met me for a couple of hours, likewise with both my brothers, and nephews were very new still. And it came out that we were actually wasting, the two of us were wasting time, even though the business was growing. He said, out of the three, two of you are wasting your time, because your business is continue to keep growing at the rate at which it is growing, even if the two of you are not there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what it meant was that we were duplicating a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. There was no clarity of who's doing what, who's reporting to
Mm.
whom.
Governance. Yeah.
So governance was not there. The sense of responsibility, accountability was not there. Which then, this exercise helped us build that actually. And I will
Mm.
share what we could sort of reap, the benefits that we could
Mm.
reap out of this exercise, and how it helped our business scale up.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, please share those. What do you think were the key takeaways from that?
Yeah, so I think first of all, the governance at the family level, right?
Yeah.
The governance is that each one of us have to have a unique set of roles and responsibilities.
Mm.
We should have, each one of us should be accountable for the job that we are doing. Each one of us are going to be responsible for what we are doing, and to make sure those departments are growing, and there is a review mechanism in place to review whatever has been sort of given to you as responsibility. And also, as a matter of fact, because of this exercise, we were able to bring professionals and departmentalize. The first time ever, we had a separate purchase department. We had a separate marketing department. We had a sales department. We had an HR and admin department. We hired a CFO. We hired a CEO. So those were like aliens for us, and for my especially for my brothers. They were not used to this kind of a format, right? But yeah, when they started seeing the results and the benefits and the growth, they started accepting this. Yeah, this is important for us to grow.
Yeah. And Suresh, I know, one of your key achievements, especially in this business, growing it outside of just imports and exports, you kind of took it into the real estate space. I'd love to know what your vision was, and what was the opportunity that you saw.
Yeah, so as I said, like us again, even my dad's family, we were three brothers, and my eldest brother has two sons who were already joined, business by then, and my second brother has three sons. They were just, getting educated and waiting to be coming into the family business. So the vision was clearly that we should, as a family, thrive, grow together, and it was important for us to build the business which could accommodate everybody in the family. Today in our family, apart from the three brothers, we have 17 of second generation and third generation with us. Even the women in the family are with us in the business. Early in the day, we thought we should clearly create avenues for them so that they can just take over those things. So with this help of the consultant, we sort of identified the core strengths that we had developed by then. The kind of ecosystem, the team, the strengths that we had built, and how could we leverage on those strengths. So being into export business, we had to hire space in a ship, containers on a ship, and when the cargo was big, and we were doing a lot of business with the Maldives, and there was no container ships, so we had to hire space on the ship, and the business was growing. So we, from hiring space on a ship to hiring a whole ship for a voyage. And then when the business was still growing, then chartering a ship for a month. And then we thought, okay, like we can run after having chartered it, we had to create a team to sort of look after them. So when we are able to manage a chartered ship, why can't we own a ship? That's how, when our first ship we bought, and when we bought it, of course, it was a lot of learning initially, both technically and management side, the crew and stuff like that, the compliances of the shipping departments and things like that. But yeah, once we got over that, then it just became a clear ecosystem for us to just keep adding ships year after year. And that supported our export business, and export business supported our shipping business. So it was like leveraging the two verticals that we had actually started. So that was one vertical that we started, a shipping and logistics business. So today, we own a fleet of ships, tugs and barges, landing crafts. We operate them along the coast of India. We in fact send to Sri Lanka. Colombo dockyard is where we get our ships docked and dry docked and repaired.
Wow.
And most of our work is still in the Maldives. So the kind of ships that we've developed are the landing crafts and the barges, because as you know, Maldives is a cluster of small islands.
Yep.
And logistics plays a very, very important role there. It's very easy to bring any material from any part of the world to Malé, which is the capital island. But from Malé to take it to those remote islands where there aren't enough the channels are very shallow. The big ships cannot go near the islands, so they had to be dependent on those low draft barges which can go and actually beach into the island, and we can unload the cargo directly there, even without the port facilities. So that was the a strength that we were trying to build to address the big logistics issue in the Maldives. In fact, most of the island resorts that are being developed today, there wouldn't be one island which either have we have not supplied construction materials or we have not provided logistic services.
Wow.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
You are the leading supplier, material supplier to those islands now.
Absolutely. So we are one of the leading, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah. So today we are just not only like suppliers of construction materials, we provide logistics support. We also do a lot of marine infrastructure now. Like that's a third vertical that we
Okay.
have built as a backward integration. Now we were able to. We were already had established a good ecosystem in terms of sourcing construction materials and supplying construction materials to the Maldives. Then we had added the logistics support. So the only thing which was remaining is to just to develop the the required expertise in terms of doing the infrastructure, the marine infrastructure. So that's how the journey of marine infrastructure began. So right today, I would say that right from reclamation of land to dredging to coastal protections to building of jetties, building of sea walls, building of quay walls, everything we do for various islands of Maldives.
Wow, that's amazing.
And Suresh, it seems like, very diverse. You're going into these, very intensive fields. What was the key to kind of breaking into them? Like, are you getting professionals in to, be the experts, or, how do you open up such a large division?
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you are able to create that teamwork of professionals and subject matter specialists, you already had a connect with the Maldives, right? I mean, all your customers,
Yeah.
because of being, present in the Maldives from the last 40 years of doing business with them, we were very fortunate to sort of, establish a very good rapport, a very good reputation with them of being very reliable as a partner, So that, of course, helped in terms of leveraging and getting into different verticals. But of course, we did at the background, we did create a very robust team of specialists of the field that we were getting into, so that we're just not darting in the dark. So that helped.
Yeah. So Suresh, when you have multiple verticals, right? How do you manage them, like more effectively?
So yeah, so that's the beauty of having a family governance, governance at a family level. So we today have a family constitution, a family board,
Okay.
right, where everything is defined, where every member of the family, whether it is us three brothers or the nephews or the third generation, everybody has a role, which is very defined clearly, and there is a review mechanism. So every single vertical, like that I spoke about now, uh, within that you have, of course, departments. The business development department are headed by most of our family members, and where we have sort of completely given them a free hand. We've sort of empowered them. We've given them the sense of ownership, that they are the owners of that particular vertical. All we do is we do periodical reviews of each of these verticals at a family board. We keep meeting every quarter and sort of doing a review of like an MIS. And I mean, if there's anything which is going wrong, then we sort of help them, sort out that. And yeah, so I think it's very easy when you put a structure at a family and make every member of the family contribute to the growth of the family business.
Yeah. So you actually sort of change the way that you do things in your family, but do you still keep some of the old traditions in the organization?
Yeah, I think the core fundamental principles and the ideology with which we have grown, the respect, the mutual respect.
Mm.
Uh, of course, and at work we are partners, but we are all a family, right? So that sense is ingrained in all of us.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
those traditions, of course, are very, very top notch. We never lose. Nobody, in fact, in the family disrespects their elders. I mean, we
Mhm.
still sit like brothers, siblings, and as a family. But we've sort of developed kind of a culture where we've understood it's very natural for us to ask difficult questions particularly when we're doing
Yeah,
reviews of businesses.
yeah,
There their mind automatically understands that of course they are nephews or they
yeah,
are grandchildren, but there they are partners, they are owners, and
yeah,
they are
Yeah.
answerable
yeah,
to the family board.
yeah.
So that's a culture that we've sort of developed in the family business.
Family come first, sort of
Correct.
uh,
Yes, that's right.
feeling. But how do
Yeah.
you balance innovation with traditions in long-standing family business?
Innovations. Yeah, I think. Look, all the family members. I mean, the youngsters, especially. The younger folks are. They're fortunate enough to be educated in the best of the schools,
Mm, mm.
best of the B schools all over the world, and they bring back to the family a very, very different perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
So they are the flag bearers of innovation and disruptions in business and bring new ideas. And the good thing of having built this culture is that their opinions are respected, they are
Mm-hmm.
heard. It's not like since like the older folks in the family have uh, made this business and they have a particular way of working. We don't respect what they are bringing in. I mean, so that I have seen as lacking. And I mean, I in my peer group, and I can see
Mm,
that
mm,
clearly lacks in a lot of families. But
mm.
in fortunately in art, I mean, because of the fact that I brought in this consultant very early stage of our growth, and that kind of understanding and educating us to deal with family matters and how important it is to the next generation who comes in. They come in with a completely different perspective, with a completely different lens. Uh, they view the world, right? And if
Mm.
if they are not respected for the opinions that they express, they would feel discouraged, and then they
Yeah,
would
yeah.
never want to join the
Absolutely.
family business. Yeah, I mean, they would rather then start thinking in terms of doing something else, even though the family business is thriving.
Mm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Mm.
Suresh, I saw, one of the values or mottos that you guys try and live by is growing mindfully. And I want to know to you, what does that mean for your organization, growing mindfully?
Look, Dylan, I mean, the religion that we belong is Jainism. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard of Jainism.
Yeah.
Uh, and there are, three founding principles,
Mm-hmm.
which is ahimsa, which is non-violence, aparigraha, which is non-possessiveness or detachment, if you may, and then there is anekantvad. So the multi perspectives, the truth of multi perspectives, different opinions. There's no one right
Mm-hmm.
kind of a
Mm-hmm.
phenomena. I mean, everybody gives an opinion and they are right from their own perspective. So that's the principle that we all have lived through. That we being from that religion. So we are always mindful. I mean, and then so these founding principles are sort of creates a circle around us and and makes us to be grounded all the times. And we are not like we are a very philanthropic family as well. We are a very social family. Each member in the family is socially active, part of some social organization or the other, some philanthropy organization or the other, some NGO, non-profits. Everybody is doing something or the other in the family. So, I mean, that sort of explains to me what you asked me. Growing mindfully, being aware of where you're headed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I think
Very
that's
nice.
fascinating. And Suresh, I want to understand, as part of one of the three, main things which I think you do is, obviously being an entrepreneur, investor, and a mentor. I want to move to that more investor role. What are you doing in the investment space?
So now we've set up a family office. This entire family as well. So we've sort of earlier we did not have a family office, which meant that whatever wealth that we were creating was going back into the business. And then through the help of the consultants, we sort of realized that it is important for us to create an alternative stream of investments. And so I sort of about 2 years back, I moved out of my family business. Between the three brothers, we also peacefully sat down, and now the family has grown really too big, and it's very important for us to have the harmony intact,
Yeah.
and make sure that before any conflict can set in, because again, like when you have three generations working under one family, everybody brings a very different perspective. Everybody has a different energy level. Aspirations are different. So and they want to do the way they want to do. So it's important that at a family level we remain intact and just give them this freedom. So I moved out of my family, and in fact, I sold my stakes to my brothers, and I completely cashed out. So when you cash out, when you sell your business, when you have money in your account, the first thing that anybody does is to become an investor. So it was rather the need based kind of a thing. It's how I got in as investor, but I'm enjoying this journey. Yeah. So I became an investor because I sold my stakes and I received the money from my family.
And do you have a particular investment thesis that you're trying to invest in?
Yeah. So again, I did a complete financial goal setting for me. Sort of understanding at what stage of my life I am in, and I have three daughters, two of whom are married and settled in Bangalore, and I have a third daughter who is graduating. She's doing a law, and yeah. So I with the help of again a financial consultant, I did a complete mapping of my financial goals and needs over maybe 100 years if I have to live, and also put in the inflation year on year, that even if I were to not earn a single penny today, with the wealth that I have, how will I be able to sustain my lifestyle? And the expenses that I would probably have in terms of looking after my family and their needs, and so based on this complete analysis, we came to sort of a conclusion as to what kind of a portfolio that I need to build, right? How much of my money has to go in a risk kind of a portfolio? How much has to be sort of safe net? The sleep well corpus, sort of if the whole world collapses, you still have that sleep well corpus, which would be enough to take care of you and your family for the rest of your life. So I've been able to build that sleep well corpus, which is very safe. I mean, it grows at a little lower rate rather than the more riskier investments. But I was able to build this sleep well corpus, uh, uh, which is growing by itself, and the remainder of the money I sort of I'm more aggressive in terms of the portfolio, more equity, more participating in like private ventures, private equity, venture capitalists kind of a setup. Yeah.
So you're coming from generations of family business owners. Have you ever thought of the next generation, like your children to be part of your business and work with you on carrying on that legacy?
Absolutely. So that's been the that's been historical in our family, right? And for many generations, we've been doing this, and of course, for the coming generations, will the same thing will happen. But in my case, it's a bit different because I have two, three daughters. I don't have sons, and my daughters have married and settled in Bangalore, and they've joined their husband's business.
All right.
In fact, my elder daughter is doing her own startup. I wanted to know if they were interested in joining because I am stationed here in Chennai. Uh, well, they help me take care of it, and at any time, and they are aware of everything that I'm doing. At any point in time, they can take over, and But I wanted to give them the freedom of just choosing what they want to
Sure.
do, and sort of help them, support them, mentor them. That's the kind of role that I have sort of taken up.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, so there is a financial security for them.
Yeah.
At the same time, they are free to do and pursue and chase their own dreams, and I
Mm.
will be there standing like a support.
And you mentioned there mentoring, and I want to go to that point. I'm fascinated by what sort of work you do in the mentoring space, and what are the businesses you're mentoring?
So there are two parts to it. And one, of course, I'm mentoring my own children with
Yeah.
whatever that the years of knowledge and experience that I've built. But I've also become a strategic investor. You know, when I said the more aggressive side of my investor portfolio, I'm building
Yeah.
around promoters, young promoters. Who's I mean, after evaluating those businesses, I mean, if I find that they are really scalable, profitable, I also become a strategy partner. I maybe as an advisor or maybe a director. I sort of lend my expertise, opinions, and things like that guide them through taking important decisions in their life. I invest with them. At the same time,
Mhm.
also I'll also help them in the strategy.
Mm-mm. Do you had a mentor in your career, like apart from your family?
For a brief period, yes. I had a coach, a personal coach, for about 2 years. Uh, it was very impactful. But of course, right now, I'm without any coach. But yeah, I mean, I'm very socially active, Jam.
Yeah, yeah.
I was at a very early stage of my life. I joined this organization of Jains called Jito. Uh,
Okay.
I I became the founding chairman of Chennai chapter of that organization. And because of this, and there were like about 83 other chapters. So this organization brought all Jains, on one single platform. I mean, you and some of these Jains who really like, the Adanis are
Yeah, yeah.
Jains. Motilal Oswal is a Jain. So they've built huge empires. So because of this organization, that brought me, easy access to these gentlemen who have sort of really achieved great heights in their life, and so I always keenly watched them very closely.
Mhm.
And I mean, though the advisors that I used to take were very silent, but I would pick up the strengths after understanding what they had, and try to sort of inculcate that in me. So they were, like, I would say, silent mentors, not very active mentors,
Mm.
more like inspiration and motivation that you draw from what
Mm.
they've been doing.
Mm. 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 Yeah. So, Suresh, looking back, over
Yep.
the years of doing amazing things, anything that you like really see, wow, I've done it. Like something make you really satisfied personally. I'm sure you have many.
Oh yeah, there are so many stories, but I mean, one particular story that I mean, it's like very, very fresh in my memory. I mean, it happened many, many years back, maybe about
Yeah.
20 plus years. But that memory is going to ever remain very, very fresh in me. I was pretty young back then, and as I said, we were like supplying pin to piano to the Maldives. Construction materials was one core line of products, but apart from that, we were doing anything and everything. Whatever the customers wanted us to source out from whichever part of the world, particularly in the Maldives, we were doing it for them.
Yeah.
And it so happened that there was a global tender for a super luxury yacht to be applied to the
Wow.
government of Maldives. And it sort of got me interested, and I picked up that tender because just then I had got in touch with a friend of mine from, a colleague in the Maldives who was from UK, and he said, well, he knows of a shipyard who can build this super luxury yacht, and they are building this all the times. I said, why not we just try this? So we picked up this tender, and with his help, I was able to connect to that shipbuilder in UK, and we were able to fill up the bid for it. I mean, there was a need for sort of financing that project, which we did, and we were fortunate to have been awarded that particular tender. It was about 3 million pound, I remember. Back then, I mean, it was about 20 years back. It was a big thing for
Wow.
us,
Yeah.
and since we were financing, we hadn't received any money. There was just a contract, and maybe about 10% advance which had come to us. But the balance would be given us on installments after once we have supplied. Everything was
Wow.
to have sort of finance from our side, and we took this big leap of faith, and we paid. I think we had to pay about 30% advance to the shipyard in UK, and we paid that, and progressively we had to pay more, and we came to a stage where the ship was ready for a fit out, and almost 70% of the payment was made. And suddenly we stopped hearing from that shipyard.
Oh, no.
And we came to know that that shipyard has gone bust. They've gone insolvent. And, I had to actually go to London, hire a lawyer. And I stayed there in London and, traveling different parts wherever the shipyards were. And I stayed there for 3 months, handling all the legal issues. I mean, I had no knowledge about shipbuilding. We had just bid for it. But those 3 months taught me everything. We had to first take the ownership title, transfer in our name, and with the help of the lawyer there, we were able to do it. And then we had to transport this entire ship, which was lying in their shipyard, because they would not able to do it, to hire another shipyard to transport the entire thing to that shipyard for the fit outs, which was a big struggle, but we managed to do it. And then the entire fit out was there. And then when we had a timeline, in terms of delivery, there was penalty after that, and it was already surpassed, and they were going in grace period. And the biggest nightmare that happened was that it was bad monsoons had already started. The seas were rough.
No.
And this ship had to actually sail across the English Channel to go to to the port in Ireland to be loaded on a big ship, and it was a particular date, right? And the seas were very rough, and this guy who was hired to deliver understood my problem and said, Suresh, don't worry, I'll take all the risks in this world and I'll help you. And he set sail. It was a terrible sort of storm there across the English Channel, and that whole night I didn't sleep, and I was just kept on calling him. Where are you? Are you safe? And he just made it right on time, crossed the channel.
Wow.
and it was loaded, and it reached Maldives well in time, and there was a big celebration. So this memory and this whole experience of those 3 months, right from giving me those anxious moments, the agony, learning different facets and aspects of life, like how does international law work, and and also negotiation. When you try to
Yeah.
negotiate with the new shipyard, I mean, they would sort of say, okay, I mean, they knew that we were on the weak footing. Obviously, anybody would want to take advantage of it. But at the end of it all, I think we were able to manage it. So that
Did you make
was
money?
not so much, but the sheer and the happiness, the sense of fulfillment of having
Yeah,
supplied
absolutely.
this. Even today, when I go back to Mali, I make it a point to go. This is for one important ministry in the Maldives who is responsible to to go from one island to the other, and it is always docked. When you're coming from the airport island to Mali, and
Oh, wow.
I see that and I feel so happy.
Yeah, and the learning that going through that three
And the
months,
learning,
you
yeah,
can't
it
buy
just
that,
comes
right?
back as a motion picture. The minute you see that ship there, I mean, the memory goes back into
All the
that. It
struggles.
was like, it was like really nice.
And while we're speaking about lessons, I'd love to get some advice from you. What do you
Mhm.
think for a young entrepreneur listening? What are your top pieces of advice that you've learned throughout your journey?
Dylan, I must say that there's no replacement for hard work.
Mm.
A lot of youngsters, the mistake that they make is like they think they can make a living out of shortcuts. And these days, this concept of smart work, of course, that works, but it's not a replacement for hard work. uh, so I think hard work is absolutely essential if you want to achieve or reach your goals, achieve that you desire to achieve. You need to work hard, right? So that's one thing that I think. Another thing is not to lose focus. With
Mm.
in this very fast changing digital era, I mean, it's very natural for our minds to get defocused because I mean, it's such diverse. I mean, and we hear the social media presence. Uh, our mind gets, diverted to a lot of other things which are not necessary. So, and because of that, we sort of lose focus. So, I think it's very important to define a purpose in life and be focused to that. Uh, so, I think these are the two important aspects that I think I always tell my daughters and whomever that I am able to speak to, especially the
Yeah.
youngsters. Yeah.
Yeah. Suresh, when you're talking about focus, I know you're a very calm, I mean, when you talk to you take time to answer questions and very calm. And how do you keep that focus? How do you, what are you doing to develop that focus?
Uh, Again, I think I am very fond of yoga and meditation. I've been
Uh-huh.
doing the entire family, both my brothers, myself, and many in the next generation are also doing practice. We practice yoga, and we also
Mhm.
practice meditation. Every day, there's at least about half an hour to 45 minutes. We sit down, uh, sort of go into that, a trance kind of a effect. This meditation is very, very powerful. So I would say uh, taking care of yourself in terms of doing whatever wellness fitness activity that sort of interests you. It could be yoga, it could be tai chi, it could be going to a gym, it can be a run, it can be just
Mm.
walking briskly. uh, and I think the breathing exercise, I mean, in India we have, along with yoga, it's called pranayam. I'll tell you, it's very, very powerful. The pranayams,
Okay.
the when you regulate your breath, the you know uh, the inhalation and exhalation, you are in a way controlling, your emotion. You're controlling your inner being. So you're in a way controlling your mind as well, right?
Mm.
Because so that automatically develops the ability to of you to be in focus. Meditation, pranayam, and fitness activity. Yeah.
Amazing. Mm.
Suresh, I'm really curious. What's next for you? What's the next 5 to 10 years look like for you?
Yeah. So Dylan, I think I'm at a very interesting phase of my life where God has really been kind to me. At this stage of my life, He's given me a clean slate on my hand and a pen, and to draw a picture exactly of what I want to do in my life. You know,
Mm,
seldom does it happen to
mm,
many of us, but I mean, I at a very blessed kind of a position in my life where my financial needs have been taken care, and I can actually do now uh, is to create a life which sort of is completely in alignment with my passions, in alignment with my things that I love to do, and draw a picture of exactly that I need to draw, that I like, that I love, right?
Mm.
mm,
So what I've decided is that there couldn't be anything better than to create this or impart this knowledge and experience of my learnings of my life to as many people as possible. So I'm actually becoming and especially in the family business setup, right?
Yeah.
As you would have sort of known that about 90% of in global business houses are family business enterprise. I mean, when I say a family could be a father and son, a family could be husband and wife, a
Mm.
family could be uh, a group of siblings or a
mm,
consortium of cousins, first generation, second generations. Uh, and I think it's important for and a lot of family don't wa- don't do is the governance at the family level. Their business might be
mm,
great. They would have professionals. They'll be making a lot of money. They'll be growing at an amazing rate. But there's something broken about the family. There are internal conflicts, silent conflicts.
mm,
Uh, there are ego issues. Those are very unhealthy. But then they are not spoken, and it
mm,
is just like a time bomb, waiting to be exploded one day. So what I want to do is that I have seen that this being implemented in my family and how it helped us
mm,
grow
mm.
and make sure that even today, even though we are separated from business, I mean, as a family we are one unit.
Mm.
Uh, so I want to sort of propagate this idea of what we did in our family to as many families as possible. Initially, maybe Indian families. So that's the role that I want to now,
You have a
create, which
great
I've
case
already
study, right?
started. I've already,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, look, I've gone through this 40 years of my life in my own family
yeah,
business,
yeah.
right?
Mm,
I did this program at OPM. I mean, there were a lot of family business we studied there, and
yeah,
and a lot of complexities in especially on the softer side of the family business. And I also did this program called Family Firm Institute.
oh, yeah.
It's a London-based program, and especially meant for family businesses. It's great learning, and I think it'll be useless. I mean, if I don't sort of and all this
Mm,
knowledge, I keep it in my head,
Yeah.
yeah,
and without being. And what intrigues me and what interests me here is not that it'll be like a great uh, revenue creator for me. That's not important. Of course, I will make money, but what is important to me is to be able to create that social impact. If I'm able to help maybe 10 families or 15 families to structure their families, and because of this they are able to sustain one generation and create a
mm,
legacy, continue to the legacy of and create a harmony at the family. I think I would have achieved what I want to achieve.
fantastic.
Fantastic, Suresh.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to following along and seeing you as you continue this next stage. But before we wrap up, looking back on this incredible journey, and given your definition of success is largely around freedom, purpose, having time to spend with family, being less materialistic, do you feel successful?
Absolutely. I'm saying, look, materialistic is like, I would not say that you should stop making money,
Yeah, yeah.
right? You should always have the desire to make money, but not at the cost of these three things. The peace, the purpose, and the freedom.
Yeah.
So that's a right balance that one needs to build. At different stage of economic level that you are, and whatever level that you are, if you're able to sort of create that right balance, that's according to me success. And you asked me if I feel, I think I've been blessed in that regard. And I would say I have the freedom of being with my family. I have a great connect with them. I have a great bond, an emotional bond. All my daughters are very, very close to me. I'm very close to my brothers. The respect, the regard for all my cousins is still there. We have a great bond. So I think that's the biggest blessing that I have in my life, I would say, and I think clearly that defines my success.
I'm
100%.
glad you feel that way, because from the outside, I definitely, it appears to me like you're incredibly successful by your definition. And honestly, Suresh, we could talk for hours. It's such a fascinating story. But before we wrap up, I've been trying to jot down what I think are the core traits which you embody, and I'd like to share them with you. The first one is you're very much a strategic thinker. And what I mean by that is I think it definitely comes from your engineering roots, where you're very much process driven. And you mentioned something early on about realizing that real scale comes from shifting away from a people focus to more of a process driven organization. And I think that's where a lot of the scale of your business has come from, by having that very strategic mindset and looking at things from a very zoomed out picture, so that you can come in and implement processes to streamline them. The next one is, I'm not really sure how to phrase it, but I think it's very much a relationship driven. And really, what I mean by that is appreciating all of the opinions of the family, and really making sure there's structure in that family business, because it can be a very challenging thing to navigate. But really putting the relationship of your family first, and bringing them along for the journey, and also realizing that with your brothers, it was time for you to step away and prioritize that relationship. Let them run the organization, and you can go and focus your time and effort on other things. And then the last one is you have a very much a give back mentality. We spoke a lot about the philanthropy that you're doing, and also all of the mentoring that you're doing, trying to give your time and energy now to support the next generation, and guide them from all the lessons that you've had.
And also knowing you, Suresh, for the over a year or so, your authenticity, and that it's very, very consistent as well. Like you're very open to hear from others, and very mature, very good listener, and also very composed, like very calm, like
Thank you so much.
and I feel like I can, that's probably one reason I kind of connected to you very quickly, because when someone really listening to you, and you feel like there's a huge respect between each other, right? So you are that person, really giving other person the opportunity to speak, and someone taking time to listen, and provide that very composed sort of feedback, and that's what I see, and that's why I say it's quite authentic, and genuine, and it's genuine is a really good word, like, because that's how I see you. It's quite genuine person, right? And it's consistent. It's not like you see once and then you're different, like very, very consistent. So I think that also contribute to your success over the years. And thank you so much. This is amazing discussions, and I think I learned so much about you, and there's so many takeaways from this discussion as well, which we can share with our audience. Thank you, Suresh.
Thank you so much, Jam and Dylan. I think you have a great sense of judgment, I would say. I could reflect upon every word that you spoke about me. It's not only about what I know about myself, but what I hear of people's opinion about me. And I think in this half an hours or 45 minutes of conversation, you've been able to be bang on. And Jam, I think I likewise I share the same feeling with you. I mean, the kind of connect, the instant connect that I had with you, because I mean, you are equally genuine. You are so curious. Whenever we caught up for conversation, I think you were there, present. It was like with your body and mind to listen to me. So that is the reason why we connected so well. I think.
Thank you, Suresh. We'd love to catch up again soon somewhere. And thank you for
Absolutely.
your time.
Looking forward. Thank you so much. It was
Thanks,
such an
Suresh.
honor and privilege, to be with you. Thank you so much.
Likewise. And for our listeners, if you've gotten something out of today's episode, it would mean the world if you can like and subscribe. Helps us to get to more and more ears and share the inspirational stories. And you can see all of our episodes over on our website, thequestforsuccesspodcast.com. And with that, we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.